what did you do after you left school?
Well, now that's interesting. I remember Jack Randall got in as a porter. I put in for him too, but he was older than I was to do it for porter. Thank God. But I finished up working for Tommy Robinson, and driving sheep. Bill Kennedy and I did a lot of, we shifted sheep and cattle, God knows what. But there didn't seem to be any outlook at all for me. There was no future in what I was doing. And fortunately, Eileen sat for the entrance exam for the Teachers College, and she was the only one that passed, including all the ex-teachers. They failed, and she was unpopular because she took over a school of one of the ex-teachers. Well, they shouldn't have been teaching. Well, Aggie Walsh, I don't know what she. I don't know whether she got a right certificate, but Veronica Ward, she was supposed to be smart from Hamilton. She taught at Hamilton. She failed. And yet Eileen did very well, actually.
So you got in?
Eh?
So is that why you
Well, she passed very well, and boarded at St Mary's. I think it was called St Mary's, somewhere on East Terrace. And
yes, the girls' hostel.
Girls' hostel.
I know it well.
And she came out of there and went to Mookra. And from Mookra she went to somewhere over Dawson Way, somewhere I think. But during the war she taught at Wilmington quite a bit.
And what about you?
What about you?
Well, only because I heard of her, I thought, well, I'd like to have a go too, so I wrote to Auntie Poll and she took me on and gave me year 8. I stood her for 2 terms in 1920. I forgot what year. About 1927, I think I was with Auntie Poll. I couldn't go back. She was too hard to get on with. And so I studied by myself. And the local teacher, what was the local teacher? Paddy. Oh. He was a very good chap. I cottoned on to him and he helped me, and I did up to about, grade 8. I did all the work anyway, and I tried to remember the other day something that I'd learned there that I've now forgotten what it was, something special. Because I went down to Teachers College and boarded with Gordon Strawbridge, and he was a bit of a maths expert, and I showed him how to do this arithmetically on the wall. Oh, yes, he got his maths out. He covered the wall, but he couldn't get the right answer. And I've forgotten what that was. I always remembered it. Something to do with... Oh, I can't remember. But, so it must have been fairly intense what I did. I didn't do a great deal of maths, but I did the arithmetic part of it. And anyway, I went through college and passed out of there.
Did you meet Mum there?
Yep.
What was your first meeting?
Now, I don't know about...
Mum, you can correct him if you like.
Mother said she could remember me coming up and asking me for a dance. And I can remember dancing with her. But it was a pleasant experience.
Pleasant.
I had no idea anything more about it until when she came back from Streaky Bay up to Kimber. And I saw her going into Mass with the Caters. And
That's when you what?
was interested.
How did you
What year?
demonstrate that interest?
What year was that? What year was that?
Now, I'd have to look it up. I think it'd be about 1933. She came back from Streaky Bay, she came back to Kimber. Her mother went up to the office and said, bring my daughter back. She was only just turned 18 a few days when she was sent right up to Streaky Bay in the middle of the night. Got off the train in the middle of the night and had to wait for somebody to pick her up. Anyway, it was nice to know they didn't bring her right back, they brought her halfway. Otherwise you people would be in strife, wouldn't you?
Well, no. Just wouldn't
Someone
be.
else.
It seemed as though it really had to be that bright, didn't it?
Taking me from Streaky Bay, which was a hotbed of Catholics, up to the north. I don't understand it.
Can you remember meeting Dad, Mum?
Well, I suppose I met him at college, didn't I?
You did.
I don't know, can't remember. Whether I didn't I?
She can't remember college even.
Oh yes, I remember some of college.
The only thing I remember, I don't remember anything distinctly about Teachers College, except my print lesson.
Everybody remembers them.
You have these 7 grades in front of you, and you teach these children for half an hour, and all these 30-odd students are back there prepared to criticise you. And I didn't have any criticism. I can't remember anybody criticising my listening. Tris Higgins said, Miss Watson, why did Mr. Wallace blush when that child answered his question?
As if
Or
Miss
something like that it was.
she knew.
But I can tell you another quick lesson I remember. I was sitting down the front after the children had gone out. Miss Watson, who was the woman's warden, that did all these quick lessons. She was sitting at the table, I think I've told her this, and I was down the front, and just the day before or something, she'd given a talk to some women's organisation about a film. And she was very upset about it. She thought the film was very, very on the nose or something or other. And of course, everybody, all the reporters and that were on her back next day trying to get her to explain. And while she was sitting down there at the table with her hat on and she used to hold these glasses. And I came to the door and said, Miss Watson, you want on the phone? So I was right there and said, Mr. Wallace, you go on with it. So I went out. I'd only had time to pick up my plumber's nose. Looking down, and there she was standing in the doorway. She must have told him to get lost or something or other.
Very quickly.
But she never said a word.
Mm.
And I think that was probably hurt more, or sunk in more than if she'd gone to cook or something bad. But it was a natural thing to do. I didn't even have time to ask a question. Oh, well.